Hey everybody, so one of the questions I get the most, it's one of the comments I get the most as well, and it's understandable, is about fees when you're copy trading. People who are just copy trading, they don't want to trade manually, they just want to copy trade. They want to know what all these fees are about because, trading's associated with fees and exchanges are associated with fees, so what are they? So, basically, if you're just copy trading, there are two types of fees really you need to know about. You could put them in two big categories. Alright, first category is fees which will apply to you. You need to know about them because you're going to have to pay them and you're going to say, what's that fee about? The other set of fees you don't really need to worry about because they're part of trading. Alright, so I'll explain what I mean about that. Now, sporadically, sometimes throughout this video, I'm going to point up here and little I will appear. And that's because what I'm about to talk about is a kind of lengthy explanation, and I've made another video which explains it in more detail. So if you want to find out more about it and what it really means, then click on the link, okay? So, first ones you need to know about is the withdrawal fee. It's the one most people ask about, that's why I start with it. When you put money into Etoro, and it's sitting there for a while, you do what you want, you're trading, you've made money, you're copy trading, you want to take those profits out. Whenever you take money out of Etoro, there's a withdrawal processing fee. So that withdrawal processing fee, it used to be in different levels depending on how much you're taking out, and they changed it to a one-time flat fee of $25. Now I'm making this video 1st of December 2017. If you're watching this in future, check that it hasn't changed. The place you can check all of this stuff, you go to help, and you can go to here, the fees page, and this shows you, it's like your central hub for everything about fees. There's all stuff about spread fees and overnight fees, which I'll talk about later. On other, here, you can see that's actually the conversion fees. Withdrawal fee at the top. Withdrawal fee $25 USD, minimum withdrawal fee amount is $50. So the minimum you can withdraw is $50 and you'll get charged a flat $25 withdrawal fee. If you want to find out more about fees up here, when that went through over here and what the change was, there's that little thing. But it basically says the same thing. When you withdraw money from Etoro as a whole, $25 withdrawal fee. And the minimum you can withdraw is $50. Now, that obviously makes sense to withdraw larger amounts now. Because it means that $25 is less of a proportion of the total amount you're taking out. When you move money around in Etoro and move it from one copier to another person you're copying and put a manual trade and there isn't a fee, that isn't a withdrawal fee. If you keep it in the system, that doesn't apply. This only applies when you take money out of Etoro back into your bank account. So there's number one, withdrawal fee. Number two, conversion fee. So when you put money into Etoro, the only currency that's dealt with in Etoro is dollars, really. Not dealt with because we trade currencies, but everything is in dollars in Etoro. So when you put money in, unless you're putting your money into Etoro directly into dollars, when you put your money in, it's going to be transferred from your currency, whatever you use to credit the system. It's going to be transferred into dollars, okay? That happens when you put money into Etoro, and it also happens when you take money out of Etoro. It's called the conversion fee. Now, over here, same page where I was before, you can see the conversion fees, charged upon deposit and withdrawal. So here they are, here are the conversion fees. Now, people argue about whether these are good conversion fees or bad conversion fees. A lot of people say, my God, they're extremely high. Other people say, no, they're competitive. And to be honest, I've asked Etoro, are they competitive? And they said, we deal with global clients. With global clients, you're going to have to check your local place. They told me, I don't know, seems a bit weak, but they said, just go to your bank and ask them how much they would charge, and you'll be able to compare against our conversion fees. Fair enough, and I didn't do it, but... and I asked them, have you compared your conversion fees to the top 5 banks in the world? And they said no, because, again, so international, we're not going to do that, and they're always changing, so you'll have to check locally to see if they're good conversion fees or not. I'm not sure about that, and I hear argument both ways. Some people say they're great, some people say they're terrible. It really depends. So check that out for yourself. I just wanted to let you know that when you put your money in or when you take your money out, there are these fees on your deposits and on your withdrawals, okay? And that's separate from the withdrawal fee. So when you take your money out, there's the conversion fee from dollars into your own currency, and there's the $25 withdrawal fee, okay? Those are two fees you're going to need to know about if you're copy trading, and they deal with your money, putting your money into the system, taking your money out of the system. Okay, so for the other types of fees, it helps. You don't have to know about these other two types of fees, spread fees and overnight and weekend fees. We'll start with spread fees. Again, if you want to know more about spread fees, up here I made a video all about spread fees where it goes into more detail. And I sort of made that video from the point of view of how do they affect you when you're trading, because that's what they deal with. A spread fee is a fee which is contained within each trade. Whenever you make a new trade on Etoro, it's how the exchange makes their money. It's how Etoro makes most of its money offers. Is whenever you make a trade, it charges a tiny amount of money which is contained within the trade. So whenever you open a new trade, you'll notice it's automatically, instantly losing money. And you have to make a little bit of money before that trade is profitable. That little bit of money is the spread fee. It's charged on all different assets that you trade. It's always charged. It's how it goes to Etoro. And really it's up to the person you're copying, the trader you're copying. He knows all about the spread fees and it's part of how he trades. If I go to, let's say I go to Tesla. If I want to trade Tesla, here's the price, 306.17. If I click trade, see it to buy it, it's 306.66. If I sell it, it's 306.16. The real price is somewhere in the middle of those two numbers. You see it changing. That little bit of extra money that they're charging is their spread fee. It's contained within the trade itself, and you're never going to have to deal with that. The person you're copying has to deal with that. A good trader knows how to trade, basically, and that involves him knowing that the spread fee is part of every trade, and he has to make profit over and above that. You're not going to need to know about spread fees, but they exist. They're very interesting, but as a copy trader, meh, it's up to the guy you're copying to deal with that. Same with overnight fees. So the overnight fees, and wait, to find out about the spread fees, if you want to, again, on the fees page, always go back to that page. This shows you all the different spread fees. They're different depending if you're trading currencies, indices, commodities, stocks, ETFs. The spread fees are different. They're different on each one. Check it out on the on this page. You'll find out all about your spread fees. So the other one is overnight fees and weekend fees. So every time you buy a stock or a commodity or any asset, they charge you a little amount which is known as an overnight fee. It's basically just a charge for holding that stock or that asset overnight. And weekend fees are basically just, they charge you once a week for Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So say you buy it today and sell it today, you won't get charged these. But if you buy it today and sell it tomorrow, you'll get charged for one day. If you buy it today and sell it for in 6 months' time, you'll get charged 6 months worth of these. Okay, so again, that's something that there's also credits. Some of the things when you hold them overnight, they'll return money to you. So sometime you'll see if I go to my portfolio again. You see here, Mr. Fastick has incurred me fees. He's incurred me minus $2.28 in fees. However, Jay has been trading things where if you hold it overnight, it actually gives you a little bit of money back. So I've got a little credit there. Yay, that's what that is, and that's where that comes from. So the fees get charged. I'll go back to the help thing. For every time you hold something overnight or over the weekend, you get charged these little fees. And you don't need to know about them. If you're copy trading, again, it's something that is inherent to each trade, and the trader you're copying has to make money. Here they are, look, here's the overnight fees on different things. So they're very tiny fractions, you know, but they can add up, and if you use leverage, they will be amplified, you know. Some things, stocks for instance, please note we will not charge holding fees for non-leveraged buy positions. So when you buy a stock and you don't use leverage, you don't get charged these. When you buy an ETF as well, look, not charge holding fees for non-leveraged positions. So if you buy an ETF and you don't use leverage, you won't get charged them, which means you can hold on to them for a long time. These are things the person you're copying needs to know about, not you, if all you're doing is copy trading. Second, you want to start manually trading, you need to know about these because they do have an effect. Okay, so watch those videos. I'll link to one up here which is also about overnight fees and weekend fees. So basically there are fees. The other one you might need to know about is, and it's a bit rare, I've never heard of anyone having to actually deal with this, it's an inactivity fee. So when an account has been deemed inactive, which means no login for 12 months for a depositing account is basically an account where you've put money in. There are other accounts, but if you've put money in, which all of you probably will have, and I have, then it's a depositing account. Basically, if we don't use our account, we don't log into Etoro at all for 12 months, they're going to start charging us $5 US per month. So log in, you know. because after 12 months they'll start charging you that $5 just to maintain the account or something. But I've never heard of anyone actually having to do that. So that's it really. The ones you need to know about if you're copy trading: you're going to get charged withdrawal fees, and you're going to get charged conversion fees when you put your money in and when you take your money out. The ones which do apply to you, because whenever you're copy trading, you're still trading. You're still, you know, buying an asset and selling an asset and holding an asset. So all the fees apply. It's just, it's on the person you're copying to know about them. He has to make profit despite these fees, because all those fees are contained within the trades. Okay, they're not going to show up externally. They're within the trades. So those are the spread fees and the overnight and weekend fees. So the only exception to that about it doesn't affect you, fees, overnight fees and weekend fees, they don't affect you if you're copy trading, because realistically you just care about whether someone is making you profit or not making you profit. If they're not making profit, you go and find someone else to copy, you know. However, when you're looking for people to copy, this happened to me, that if you copy someone who's using a lot of leverage in their trades, leverage is like a multiplier effect which you can use. If people choose to use leverage in their trades and they hold them for a long time, the leverage also increases the amount of overnight fees and weekend fees that you get charged. And if they get charged them, you'll see them as well starting to pop up. So if you go to your portfolio and you're copying someone and you see that there are a lot of fees associated with a particular trader, that's probably because they're using a lot of leverage and holding those assets for a long time. So that is something to look out for if you're copy trading when you're going to pick a new trader. Does that person use a lot of leverage in their trades? And do they use a lot of leverage in trades which they then hold for a long time? Because I sort of got caught out on that one. So that's the only thing you need to worry about with overnight fees and weekend fees. Even so, all of those fees aren't going to be outside of the trade. They're going to be fees which are within that copy position, and it's really for the trader you're copying to worry about them. Then, if you don't log in for 12 months, there's the inactivity fee. You know, never heard, no one's ever complained about that one. So that's basically it with fees for now. Hope you understand that, and watch those videos. If you think about doing manual trading and not just copy trading, do actually learn about what spread fees are and what overnight fees are, and how leverage affects them, because that's really, you know, an integral part of trading. Okay, so lastly but not least, is there a fee for actually copying someone on Etoro? Obvious question. No, there isn't. It's absolutely free to copy someone. So they do all that work and they do all the copy trading, and that's completely free for us to get them to do it. They get paid by Etoro. The more copiers they have, the better their benefits. So it's in their interest to trade well and get more copiers, and we don't get charged for it. So no fee to actually copy someone. But there we are. That's it.